Welcome again, Internet. This is Donovan Farrow, your host on SecureAF Podcast. Today we're going to be discussing topic of vishing with the V. This is obviously voice phishing. I have a awesome guest over here, Trey Allen. Say hey, sir.
Hello, how are you?
And we are actually going to be explaining the techniques, the processes in order to conduct a successful vishing engagement. We're going to talk about like what parameters, what social skills, what basically it's social emotional manipulation that is involved with that. This skill set has definitely escalated recently in a lot of cyber attacks. This one was done with MGM. They have an fluent English accent now. Scattered Spider is the Hacker Association, the hacker group that's doing this recently. They've been very successful. So I'm going to ask my buddy Trey over here a few questions about kind of how he got into it, and kind of leading up to the us getting invited to DEFCON for the vishing competition. So Trey, again, welcome.
Yeah, this is my first podcast. I'm pretty excited for it. Never done one before.
That's right, I forgot.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
First ever.
Yeah, I think we tried to do one very late after a bar one night, and it ended up pretty bad.
Okay, that's fair.
Terrible comments on it. Yeah,
Good.
So,
Just absolutely deleted.
Yeah, completely scrap that one for sure.
That's perfect. And then so awesome. Welcome again. So you kind of getting used in the new to the cybersecurity realm.
Yeah. So I've been here since December now. Started as a sales guy, kind of building more so the sales pipeline, of course. But I've always enjoyed prank phone calls. And then once I let everyone at the office know, then they were like, "Hey, I've got a whole vishing campaign that I need assistance on. We're kind of busy in the stocks." So that was kind of my first step into vishing, and it's been a lot of fun. As I said, from moving from prank phone calls as just a pastime from youth, and unfortunately even in my 30s now, it's been a lot of fun to test the companies that ask us and we contract with to do those vishing campaigns.
Yeah, so having a background in sales, you did sales prior to that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that type of background would be a company to a vishing engagement?
Yeah, it's every account and client. I used to do brewery sales, so that's a lot of it could be the most corporate guy ever.
Let's go.
Yeah, it's the most corporate guy ever, a guy that requires you to drink a pitcher of beer before he'll even talk to you about selling something.
Nice.
And just off the wall comments left and right. So you have to kind of be able to be adaptable and malleable in the way to talk to somebody that doesn't really even want to get talked to. So especially when it comes to vishing, the aspects I find the most interesting about it are just the emotional side of it. You can really go pretty far with a small sob story, or even just a kind of weakness in your voice.
Yeah,
it's been pretty interesting.
Can you give us an example of that's been successful for you?
Yeah, so we've done a couple engagements with a few banks, and my favorite thing to do is either act like an older person or to just feign ignorance with technology all the way.
So an older person, can you please give us an example?
Someone that would be
vocally.
Okay, it'd be like, hey there, darling. I'm so sorry. Just in my truck here. I just got back from the doctor's office, and I just can't seem to find that account number anywhere. I can give you my birthday. And a lot of these, this is Oklahoma too.
It works,
so,
man.
Yeah,
I've seen it.
And regionally adapted as you should, or what you see fit. But you kind of go for that grandpa angle. Like you want to not be confrontational. You want to get the information as easy as possible. And for me, it's definitely been more of a honey than vinegar with the that aspect. So
yeah, and it's kind of funny if you guys have that opportunity, obviously for fun, for practice, not for manipulation. It's just a good topic to think about, social engineering.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing is, I always say there's trust points to each conversation. He just nailed one, was location where he was from. So we were imitating someone from Oklahoma, an older person, that type of accent that moves. So in your mind, before you actually do something, it has to go through at least 2 to 3 check boxes of trust. One could be the number, right? Because we can spoof numbers, right? 2, it could be a voice that sounds familiar, or it could be from a specific area. And 3 is, I kind of know the answer, but I don't. They've already passed a threshold of trust, and you're more likely to do something you're not supposed to do if they can check all those boxes.
Yeah, I found name dropping is pretty easy as well. So if you can catch a name, when usually most people will, especially at work, or especially with banks, they'll introduce themselves with their first name. Just laying into that. We did a call when we were at Anatech. We just having fun doing prank phone calls, and I actually convinced a store manager of a large superstore that we'd met before and bet on the Super Bowl. And he may or may not have been placating, because I acted like I was somebody that was not able-bodied. And so he may have just been wanting to get me off the phone, but we could have kept going with that pretty far. I feel like he did accept that was a real thing pretty quickly. So
yeah, that's wonderful. And another thing is Trey and I, what we like to do is we like to have two people on the phone. One of the best techniques that we do, and we're going to be doing this at DEFCON, because we have that privilege, and thank you guys for inviting us. We're super pumped about that. I don't even know. Oh, by the way, we're Team Winslow.
Oh yeah, go Team Winslow.
Team Winslow. So if you're at DEFCON, check us out. We're going to have some free t-shirts and some stickers. Hopefully we'll win. We got to do some reports and stuff coming up. But anyway, having a duo or having more than one person, when you're on the phone, you can kind of get in its own motion. We'll take notes or like do this.
Yeah.
It kind of gives them more ideas, because they kind of get stuck in like what to say next. Because it is a little nerve-wracking. I would say over time you get better with it.
Yeah.
But because it's kind of funny, it's also really hard not to laugh. Trey is the man. I can't help but laugh. I have to leave the room.
Yeah, you got to. My friends they call it turning your soul off, and I think that goes very well for vishing, especially with bad actors that are actually seeking to do malicious activity and actually hurt a company or even an individual themselves.
Yeah.
And it's you have to sell it. That's the whole thing. And I think that what you're speaking to with the two person, it's the essential, the good cop, bad cop.
Yeah.
So I can present myself as the easygoing person, and then sometimes I'll have Donovan play my wife or just my friend or brother who's very upset.
Very upset.
Yeah,
very
exactly.
angry.
He's been
very angry. We could tell him that story about the TV.
Which
the TV that you bought.
Oh yeah. So yeah, that was recent. So after 5, we like to hang out, and in the office we'll do some prank phone calls. It's vishing practice.
Yeah, we're practicing for the competition.
It's for work.
And we're not hurting anybody. It's just for practice, and we're not. It's just very funny conversation.
Exactly.
We may have to make like our own podcast for that.
I think so. They're fun prompts you can do. One of mine is calling a business and acting like I bought something that it does not align with my morals or is causing a big stink at home. And so we called a large retailer of electronics, and I said, hey, I got this new TV. It's great. Unfortunately, when I plugged it in, it's got nothing but illicit images and just terrible videos, and my wife is extremely upset.
You got to give them the voice. What voice?
So I can't even remember what voice that one was.
I think that was the northeastern person.
Oh yeah, I can't think. But yeah, no, I called and I was like, yeah, I don't understand what's going on with this TV. Are all your TVs like this? My wife thinks I'm putting this material on the TV. It has to be the TV, right? It is the TV, correct?
It's definitely the TV,
and just being able to kind of just not be jovial, but not extremely confrontational. The gentleman was like, "Well, just bring that receipt inside. It sounds like it is the TV." And I was like, okay, I'm gonna sit her inside right now. And then I had Donovan act like my wife and shut the door. And then I said, hey man, you really helped me out. That actually was my issue. And then we just kind of played with it a little bit more and pushed him and asked him if he knew of any other illicit images, and he just kind of laughed. And, but I think overall that it's not a damaging or
I'll put some icing on that, because it was okay. So he soft pointed that, was saying he got a TV that when he hooked his computer up to it, it displayed a whole bunch of pornography basically. And his wife, which I was at the time, was really upset.
Extremely.
And he was like, I just bought the TV, it clearly came with it. It must have some apps or commercials, and every time I plug in my computer, boom, there it is. And it was hilarious. And then I jumped out, I was like, he's a liar. I'm very upset and the guy was just, he was a bro.
I think we made his day. He was extremely happy to help us.
He goes, you have to tell her it was the TV, please. Please tell her. And then I come back in with the door shut, which was pretty weak. It was a YouTube video. Come back in. I don't even know why a door would be shut, like you're in your car or something.
I think you'd be slamming it.
Yeah,
we're in the parking lot.
Yeah, and we're in the parking lot, of course. And which is weird to hook up your computer to a TV in the parking lot. That's fine.
We double checked.
Didn't ask those questions.
Right.
And he was like, "Oh no, ma'am. Listen, yes, it was the TV. Yeah, it happens sometimes. If just bring the receipt back, we'll get that exchanged."
Yeah.
And it was pure gold.
That's a bro move too,
Yeah.
because I mean he's a representative of that company, and he's essentially saying, yes, our product does come with that.
Yeah. So I shut the door, and then he was like, "No, dog, for real, that was me."
It's like, I really appreciate you. So if you could, and also, do you know of any other stuff? I just got in on this kind of thing, so
I just found it. I just knew on the internet.
yeah, I'm very new to the internet. I just bought a Vizio, so if I can show you exactly where I'm at technology wise. But yeah, so that's just, I mean, I for prank phone call, my favorite, like, wasting people's time is probably as most malicious as we get.
Yeah.
And especially in those, and even on my personal side, I don't like to do rude prank phone calls. There's just no
Yeah,
point.
yeah. We're definitely never aggressive. I was definitely promote. You can be nice. You can be have fun stuff. Obviously, wasting people's time is probably the most of that stuff. And then I guess another story before. I guess I'll get a little technical, then we'll tell another story. Is I did a presentation quite a few years ago. It was called "Hacking the Human." And I talked about all the aspects of it. I said we get compromised because we're curious, we're greedy, we're emotional, we're angry, and there's one I forgot. I don't know. It was an old presentation. Mm-hmm. But I want to talk about people being greedy. So one of the biggest social engineering things that are occurring, they used to be a little bigger now, was muling. So they would solicit old people that their grandson or granddaughter was locked in a prison in Mexico. That was like the mantra. And what he said earlier, what Trey said earlier, was he would indicate. So I call an old person. I'm like, hey, grandpa, and you have a softer voice, hey, grandpa. And it was like, hey, can you hear me? Can you hear me? And their brain will automatically go to that line of trust. Oh, that's Bobby. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Bobby, how are you? You okay? No, Grandpa, I'm actually really in trouble in Mexico. You got to kind of mumble and make them really listen really hard, and it makes them believe the story a lot better. And they can pull information from Grandma and Grandpa, and what they'll do is they'll pay money, and they'll send it to a mule, and then that's where the transaction will take their money, whether it's a Western Union or even cash. Mm-hmm. Those happen quite a bit because they used a few of those actions in order to build trust to steal money from people.
Yeah, that's huge right now, and you can see like tons of videos on the internet of people at CVS that are the clerk there saying, hey, we've seen you in here a few times this month, and I know you're not needing $150 in iTunes gift cards. They're like, well, this is for so-and-so. And it's like, ma'am, I believe you're being scammed. And even someone confronting them right then and there, face to face, they still believe that, because they've conducted that line of trust.
Yeah.
I think a lot of too, you'll have those, hey, grandpa, I'm doing this. I can't talk to mom and dad.
Yeah.
I can talk to you.
Yep.
And that especially with older folks who are the target of these scams, they are often probably, Bobby's not calling a lot.
Yep. Or none of the grandkids at all. So they're excited to have that contact relationship.
That contact and that trust, and they're like, oh, I can still be of a parental form or some sort of justice for you in this situation.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's pretty sad, honestly, and it's something that we do here to train companies to provide better training so that those companies don't get affected like that, and hopefully people can take that and spread that to those loved ones that are susceptible to some such scams.
Yeah, and we've been invited to a few financial institutions. Again, going back why we do this, yes, it's fun, but we also do a lot of training for the public. I've been to a few financial institutions and actually recorded a lot of videos, audio of me calling a bank, getting a social, getting a full bank account based off my techniques, and I present that to the crowd, and their heads explode. Mm-hmm. Because what we're talking about probably sounds like smoke and mirrors, and like, I will never be had. Going back to the lady, whoever's buying the gift cards, they will never be had. That's why they keep buying them, because they have a hard time admitting, I got duped.
Yeah.
No one wants to get duped, and they're willing to lean into the fraud so hard that they want to believe it. They want everyone else to believe that they haven't been had, which is really sad.
It's super sad, and it's so. I mean, it is the most low-hanging fruit. That's why. Even from individual all the way up to corporation, people want to please. People are lonely a little bit. I mean, after COVID, I think that a lot of people aren't seeing a lot of anybody anymore, especially those that might be like immunocompromised, feel like they need to stay home. And
sure.
The crazy thing is just how often it's happening and how frequent, and it's because it works. And that's why we engage into the vishing campaigns that we do.
Yeah, and I forget there was another one with Scattered Spider, and I bring them up specifically because a lot of historically a lot of fraudsters in that department have an accent, and I'm not saying all people with accent are fraudsters. I'm saying a lot of it, especially in India specifically, have a lot of fraud in Eastern Europe. Also have a lot of fraud going out there. The Scattered Spider has I haven't got to hear it, but everyone indicates it's very clear English attackers.
Yeah.
And that could mean that someone just speaks really good English. That doesn't mean they're from America, is what they're trying to say. It's from the United States, the accent.
Yeah, I think the severity of that too is, these places in Eastern Europe and India and places outside of the West they've actual companies that are built to do this. So it is as effective because these places are spending money for infrastructure, buying a building, buying laptops, getting people headsets, and it's because it does work. Even with broken English or an accent, it still works, and that's the scary part.
Yeah, and so again, a part of us doing, especially this podcast, is to bring awareness to it. It's not something a lot of people talk about because it's not cybersecurity, it's my air quotes, but it really is. We do it a ton. I mean, even go back to the MGM thing. They were able to social engineer the IT support group because they got a new phone, they needed to have MFA. They were able to get them to update that so that way when they stole a password, they could log in. They use their MFA on their stolen or their burner phone, was able to get in and melted down MGM for 3 weeks?
Yeah.
They lost, I think it was like $110 million, something like that, which I think it probably should have been more, but who knows? That was pretty wild. And a lot of people didn't talk about. They talked about Black Cat, which Black Cat is awesome. Is it Alpha? Black Cat for sure. Scattered Spider sold the basically access to Black Cat to do the networking and the ransomware. So those teaming up is pretty wild.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's crazy. There's a story out of Hong Kong where a malicious person set quite a bit of time aside to gather information about I believe it was the board, what was able to create deep fakes, which I guess would be just a really extensive vishing campaign. But they were able to create a deep fake with the images and the likeness of their voice to make a whole Zoom call with the board and do a wire of over a couple $1 million.
That's gangster.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Yeah. That person did their homework, and I mean that's just how robust that can be. It's pretty nuts.
Yeah, that's some new frontier stuff, right? So so where do we go from here? I mean, because we've had that one also with the it's a crazy word. They call it cyber kidnapping. What is it called? Something like that.
Oh, it's where they create like a deep fake and say, "Hey, this is."
Yeah, I've been kidnapped. Mm-hmm. I've been kidnapped. They call their parents. This one, I don't remember where she was at. Someone got this girl's voice, and I don't know where they probably had a whole bunch of YouTube videos, or they have a whole bunch of podcasts.
Yep.
See you.
Or TikToks now.
Or TikToks, right? Yep. Get their voice, and they called this mother. They spoofed this girl's number, called her and said, "Hey, I'm being kidnapped. I need money. They're gonna kill me. Please help." All this other stuff, and I don't know. I don't think she paid it. Maybe she did pay it. Either way, her daughter was upstairs.
Yeah,
it's a whole different which is
yeah. I mean, you should probably have found. I would say that's where MFA comes into play, where you could go and double check that person actually is upstairs or where you think they would be. But no, that's just going to get more and more prevalent. It's going to happen more often. If they're finding success in it, others are going to adapt that style and just keep pushing that. And now, like I said, especially with younger people too, everyone's online, so you could find an easy bank of quite a few words to do a simple spoof number and spoof the voice.
Yeah.
If you keep that vocabulary to a minimum, you could probably do it pretty successfully, pretty quickly.
Yeah.
With just a limited amount of content you could probably find online very easily.
Yeah, and what I like, and kind of bouncing around here, but one of my when you're doing vishing, sorry, topic change here.
Sure.
Vishing techniques. When we talked about having a voice, kind of going back to that, an accent, doing something that's not natural, because your natural voice is pretty good, but for me, it's better to have a different voice because it's kind of a little more entertaining, to be honest.
Oh, yeah.
And to kind of hear people respond to an accent or a voice that you make up is pretty funny.
Yeah.
One of my favorite techniques, which is this may kind of make everyone laugh, is you see, hello? Hello?
That's a good one.
Hello? When they're just talking, you just keep saying hello, and it really, I don't know what it does, but it really throws their concentration off.
It puts them on the back foot a little bit. It's kind of like pushing somebody before you swing on them. You're going to be able to see them kind of compose themselves.
Hello? Hello?
See, I just stopped.
Hello?
It's because then they're going to assume that maybe you're not the most technology proficient.
Yeah.
Or maybe you don't hear well. So they're like, oh, now I've got to deal with this sort of character.
And like you said, they don't want to cut someone off. They're trying not to be respectful, and you just keep saying hello, and it is pretty amazing.
It works really well. One of the other styles I did for those engagements with those financial institutions was to kind of discuss. I was going through a divorce at the time, and the whole goal was to get
his character.
Yeah, the character. Yeah, exactly. Thank God. Already been through one of those. The person on the phone was more willing to help, but I kept expressing how angry and grumpy I was and upset I was and how downtrodden this whole situation is. And the whole goal was to get this person removed, but to have them removed, they'd have to sign it.
Yeah.
And just trying to push this employee as hard as I could to get that person off my bank account.
Yeah.
And luckily I wasn't successful. So like when we're doing vishing, we're not trying to trap people, and we're not trying to get them in trouble with their company. What we're trying to do is at the most, or at their worst, is provide training. So
and anytime that we work for any organizations, that's the whole point. We even tell that to them. This is not to get people in trouble. This is the opposite. This is just awareness.
Yeah.
And for another institution I was working for is they did give me a bank account. I had the last four numbers of a bank account, and I had a name, and it was awesome. His name was Lloyd Christmas. I can't believe they didn't pick up on that, by the way. That was the name. So called the bank, and I called them Friday at 4:30, and I knew they were going to be busy, so I did a little bit of recon. I found that basically salespeople, I forget what they're called, banker, loan person, whatever. I found he was on LinkedIn. He was very excited. I found what branch he was in. So I didn't call that branch. I called one close to it. And I said, hey, I keep trying to call my home branch. I can't get here. I need some help. Please help me. And they're like, hey, man, we can't do that. Put me on hold. And I was on hold forever. So then they finally picked up, and I just turned up road music as loud as I could. And I kept saying, like, hey, I need some help. I need some help. I need some help. Please help me. And they're like, well, I can't. I was like, hey, listen, I'm new. I don't want to get in trouble.
Right.
So what I said that was, I'm doing a sense of urgency. I'm pushing them. I'm new. Please don't be a dick to me. Like,
can you help me?
Yeah, can you help me?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I just try to get this done. I promise I'll get out of your hair. And I know the drive-thru is backed up. Friday. It was also the first Friday of the month too. So they were. I knew this was all by design. And I have loud road noise, but I'm also saying, I don't want to get in a wreck. Can you please help? I've told him my papers. I don't want to get in a wreck. Can you please help me?
Yeah.
So I'm saying, can you get me out of me hurting myself because I'm an idiot and I'm calling you for information on the phone?
Yeah.
So I'm putting a little bit of liability on them as well, which can cause more stress. And I'm saying, I just need the details. It's Lloyd. I have the last three. It's 4852. And they're like, no, it's 4458. I was like, oh yeah, 445. I got it right. And I said, what was it? It was 445. She's like, no, I'm intentionally saying it to her wrong because I'm getting close. So I'm doing a trust angle, right? Yep. So I did have the last four, but I'm looking for the whole bank account. And I kept, so let's just say it was 4441. So I'm getting close, and they're correcting me. I'm like, I'm sorry. Yeah, it was the paper. Can you just repeat the whole thing for me? And me doing that sense of urgency and making those many mistakes off the information I had. Then she said, yes, here's the full bank account number.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, great. And the last four is like 6187. She's like, no, I was like, that's what it says. Oh, was it 4? She's like, oh, yeah, it's a 4. It's 4821. I was like, oh man, I'm so sorry. Again, I'm just not trying to wreck. Thank you so much.
And that's, they're just trying to be helpful. It's insane. I did one where they actually pushed me up. I didn't know at the time it was the CFO, but I found the same deal. I called a bank, and I said it was from a different branch, and this is right around tax time. And I said, hey, I just moved addresses. I wanted to get my W-2 sent to my new address. I have not received it yet. She pulled an audible on me. I did not know that they got all theirs through an app. So she goes, well, have you not been able to access through your app? And I said, I got a new phone now, and I just, with the new address and the move and everything, I just need to make sure I have this for my records so I can file my taxes. It's about to be the 15th of April, and I don't want to have to file an extension. And she took it just right there and said, hey, what's that new address? Then I found out it was the CFO. So we were able to stop her from submitting the W-2, of course. But
That's nice.
that I think it speaks to how everyone can benefit from the training of vishing or vishing training, and needs to be up to date from all the new styles and ways you can do it. Because if the CFO is going to give me that information, anybody will.
Yeah, and obviously, for the record, all this information is just for educational purposes.
Yes.
Don't be evil. Thank you.
Yeah.
So kind of going back to some other phone calls we had in the recent fours we're practicing. Do you remember the one about buying hooks?
Yeah. So I said I came in to do some big fish fishing. I don't know what you call it.
Big fish
game fishing. Yeah.
It's big game fishing for sure.
But, catching wahoos and such. But we did. We put it on a funny accent, and we acted like a pair of brothers from New York City. We came all the way out to Hawaii. We bought these hooks, and we've got the time set aside to go out on the boat, and we're only here for a certain amount of time. And all these hooks are bent. Every time I reel one in, it slips, and I pull it out. It's a straight hook. And then I had Donovan acting like my even more upset brother. And we just, probably wasted a good 20 minutes of this person's time.
Yeah, I think I had my horrible Jersey accent.
Yeah, we went from a lot of different places in the Northeast.
Yeah, we traveled a lot in those accents. They didn't quite pick up on that.
No, they didn't. And she had a similar, I want to say, her voice just sounded similar. And then we started to say,
because we thought she was cut in New York, maybe.
Yeah, I was like, are you mocking my voice right now? And she goes, no, this is the way I speak. And I was like, I believe you're mocking my voice.
This is the way I speak. That was good, yeah.
Well, we got to the point where we were like, no, we need these hooks delivered to our hotel. We will not be coming back to that store. And it was a good time.
Yeah.
I think they were trying to set up something for delivery, but if we wanted to push it, we could have pushed it as far as we wanted.
Yeah, so the hooks just would put it in the water and come back out straight. So we understand if it was like spaghetti, right? Mm-hmm. So it was like a noodle we throw and it just comes back straight, and we just didn't understand the hooks.
Who's building these hooks? What's the grade of the steel? Is it steel itself? Is it a copper hook? Is the Hawaiian sun affecting the
Is it the water? Have you guys tested this in salt water?
Exactly.
Listen, this is serious.
This is a place in Hawaii. Like, you should be ready for this kind of thing. But yeah, it's a blast.
Do you even know what hooks are?
Yeah,
that's a good starting question for anything when you're calling a place to makes hammers. Do you even know what a hammer is? Again, do you know the steel grade? Does it have any what's the zinc level in
exactly?
Do you have a marker to know that it causes cancer? This is all important.
Yeah.
Are you in the hook department?
Yeah, and it's just you create frustration and especially if it seems to be that you're a person that's going to push this even further past the chain of your ladder, they're gonna want to get you off the phone, and more often than not try to placate you and just get it done.
Yeah, and again, that was a good intentional segue. Is that one of the another things? Maybe that's what it was. It was avoiding of conflict.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So what vishing people bring is we bring stress. Mm-hmm. So as humans, it's our natural want or ability to push away stress, get away from me. So again, on my phone call and his phone call, the more stress we give these people, they're going to do something they wouldn't typically do because there's so much pressure. We push them and give them pressure until they pop, right? And the answer to make these pressures or stresses go away is just to say, yes, what do you need? Please shut up.
Yeah.
Get off the phone. Thank you. Goodbye. And that's what the conclusion they're looking for. And if you can hold them from getting to that conclusion as much as you can, that's when people really start to bend the rules.
Yeah, especially if you can keep it right at the line where they're about to hang up. If you can really keep them just as upset as possible, but stay, I want to say professional, but it's not professional in that case. But it's, you can get somebody pretty far just by stressing them out and saying, hey, well, I'm going to have to speak with somebody else because you're not helping me here.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh no, my boss is going to ask me a million questions about this, and they're probably going to listen back on it. I'm probably going to get reviewed for this. Let's just get this done.
Yeah, absolutely, because they just don't want to get fired, and that's obviously we don't mess with any of that that round. That's more of the professional side. We get paid to, again, no one gets fired from those, and no one gets reprimanded. Again, we have the privilege of recording those and presenting those to the staff. Even the one that I did, and again, no one's perfect. You talked about a CFO getting compromised.
Yeah.
The lady that I guess she worked at the bank for 18 years. And the lady who gave her the phone prior, she'd been there for 2 years. She said, so she gave me the professional who had been through all the training. They're required to go, I think, twice a year to all the training. And we were able to kind of get her to do something she would never do, in her words. And she was happy to talk about it, which I thought was awesome, too.
My most successful and quick, easy vishing traps I've got people set in were somebody that was a tenured employee and been there for a long time, and then I just spoke soft and nice to him and said, I'm sorry, I don't have my account number here. I do have my last name, my first name, my address, and they go, it's okay, well, I'll get into that account for you. You're a valued customer, and I appreciate, they know, they probably talk with so many people that they already know all day, or are setting up new accounts for people that have no idea for information. So if you have just a little bit of information and you're nice enough, and speaking towards like the conflict side of it, one of the easier things to do is to, you can find a boss's name anywhere, really. And reference that boss and say, hey, so-and-so needs to get this done by this time. I'm going to need your password and login real quick. I'm with your IT company or your MSSP. We're conducting such and such activity here. More often than not, if you shape it well, you can get access to somebody's account very quickly just by citing, hey, your boss told me to do this, so I'm doing this for your boss on behalf of him. If you don't get this done, it'll be...
So that's using a power of authority, right? You're at borrowed authority. I forget what it's called. Basically, using someone that has a higher authority. Like everyone likes to send everyone on my team emails from me that are not from me.
Just got my first few ones a month ago.
Congratulations.
I was feeling left out because everyone else was getting multiple, CHPX2 at yahoo.com, and it said, hey, this is Donovan, I need your social security or whatever information,
cell phone number. I don't quite understand. I think it's probably getting them isolated away from email. I would guess.
I could see that.
I'm just guessing. We should run down that rabbit hole one day.
We should go all the way down. I mean, because we have, that's fun too, is we can give the folks or the dudes in the SOC, we can give them their information, and they can really mess with these guys that are, it's a counter fish or vishing. It's a counterattack.
I got on that note, I got a good counterfish for you, and this was just unbelievable. I couldn't believe this was happening. I don't know if I told you the story. No. So anyway, I got a call. I was looking at it. It said Jamaica. I was like, oh yes, baby. Oh, I'm taking this phone call. So this dude calls and says that basically he wants me to like invest in his company. And what he's trying to do is go around the country and get some capital and build whatever, something, and I'm going to be part of this big company. It's a big idea.
It's a great opportunity for you.
It is what he told me. The investment, if I give $100, the past two people have gotten $1,000 in the past 2 to 3 weeks.
It's good
is
ROI,
it worth your time? Good ROI. And so I'm going down. He's like, hey, I just need you to focus. I was like, hey, I got to jump off the phone. He's like, no, listen, it just can't tell anyone, just you and me. And I'm like, oh, yeah, this is one of those. Okay, cool. So they try to isolate you. They say, don't contact anyone else. Just talk to me about it. This is our secret because we don't want this special thing that I'm going to give you in the public. This is the whole point of it. So I'm just going down. I was like, yeah, hang on, man. Let me go. So he convinces me to drive to Walmart. And I'm sending this dude, like, pictures of like me driving like on the road, and it was nighttime, so I was like, it's raining though, I'm scared to drive. He's like, you're gonna be just fine. He's like really encouraged me to go get these anyway. This is like a 30-minute deal, and he's going on. I was like, okay, I'm back, and all of a sudden I heard like a bah, and I was like, hold up. Was that a goat? No, it wasn't a goat. Wasn't a goat.
I'm not doing this call right next to goats.
And I said, hey, I forget his name. Charles, we'll call him. I said, Charles, I thought we were building a line of trust here. Was that a goat? And he just like paused and goes, yeah, I'm sorry, that was a goat. And I was like, thank you so much. Hey, also, Charles, I want to let you know that I've wasted 45 minutes of your fraud time. This was hilarious. I've recorded all of it, and you're a horrible scammer, and good luck with your goats. Hung up.
I
was a goat though. I was laughing. I couldn't believe it was real.
Yeah, he had to step outside because you took so long. He had to get some fresh air.
With his goats.
I had a similar situation. So a lot of times, you may have seen this too. You'll have a friend's Instagram account or Facebook be like, hey, you $500 offer, or hey, I got something new, and they've been hacked. So that also they didn't do good password security. They didn't change the password. Somebody was able to guess it, get in their account, and I had a friend of mine's get compromised. And I messaged him. I was like, hey, are we still, because he let me know. He's like, hey, I'm doing a new Instagram, don't talk to this one. So I was like, of course I'm going to talk to this one.
Absolutely.
So I acted like somebody who was deaf, and I had a big, so it started off, I said, hey man, are we still down to hang out tonight? I'm going to come over in a little bit and pick you up. And he goes, no, it's not going to be, no, I can't do that tonight. I said, okay, no worries. Do you still need that $600? So I prompted him, because I knew that he'd already been hacked and the scammer was at work. And I probably, for just an hour and a half, just on my phone, I was saying I had all this money left over from my parents that had passed away. But you already know that, you know, of course, because you're my friend. And I was like, are you still wanting to come over for pizza tonight? Because I changed it up. I wanted to see if he caught me on I'm picking you up or the pizza thing. He said, well, no, I can't. But if you could sell at $600, that'd be great. And I said, well, how about $6,000? I can send you 6,000. I've got the money for it. And then he just jumped on it. So then I started just going into things of like, man, do you remember this time we were out here? And I just kept trying to go with stories and see how far he wanted to bite into it. And eventually I just turned sour on him. I said, you know, this is weird. I'm actually outside your house right now. I don't see your car, but you just said you were home. And he's like, well, no, actually, I just left. And I was like, what? Are you still going to come over? I just kept trying to confuse. And then I turned sour on him. I said, you know, I think this might be a scam. Would you scam a deaf person? Are you that kind of person? Do you not have any guidance in your life? Is there nothing that brings you shame or anything like that? And eventually I was able to get the account deleted. So I feel like I did a good job by helping him not,
Wonderful.
continue to scam.
You got him offline, right?
Yeah. So I mean, he's on to another one, of course, but at least that account got shut down and no one else potentially got scammed. But
That's wonderful.
he was really wanting that $6,000.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
So
that is hilarious. Now, and again, I would say a victory from that, which I like, is I know that they are hurting people, manipulating people. And I would say just the victory from, I know a lot of people do that, just kind of play with these fraudsters, is because like that guy or whatever, they got super hyped. So we get to get their emotions all up in the sky, and they think they're about to get it. They just pull the rug out from under them.
Yeah, it's the inverse of what they're doing to victims. I mean, they're putting people in positions where that they can help either a friend or somebody in some way, and then realize they're a dupe. So. If we can put that back on him, I feel like we're doing the Lord's work.
That's right, exactly. Well, kind of finishing up here. Obviously, we were happy to be invited. It was a competition to get into the vishing at DEFCON. It's the Social Engineering Village, which is very exciting. They do more than just vishing. They do some other. I think they play like some card games and stuff like that, like a poker face. They do a really cool stuff there. I don't know how many were involved, but I'll kind of give you a chance. Can you tell them about maybe that process and what we did to kind of get in there? I think people are interested. Maybe they can go next year. Maybe try to beat us, you know?
Yeah, there you go. So we were just kind of looking at it. I had, of course, after doing the vishing calls and telling everyone about the prank calls, I was like, I'm very interested in trying to get to compete out there. I feel like we could do a good job and possibly win. So from there, we just did some research on submission videos, which kind of were dated till around 2017. I don't believe they're really adding a lot of online content for this, which makes sense. You know, it's a hacker convention. So, but we saw a lot of lack of personality in the submission videos. So we thought, you know, what could we do?
Weird. Some were weird.
Some were very weird. I'm being very nice about lack of.
Like, there was like weird like breathing and stuff.
Yeah, there were some. I guess
I don't know.
Just people pulling from odd shows and just replicating the intro.
It was terrifying.
But it wasn't for a broad audience. I don't think it hits well. So what we decided is like, well, we can either go technical or we can go fun.
Yeah.
And you know, I think somebody had been doing this sitcom jingle around the office or something, so we decided to cue it up to.
Where did it even come from? Was I just whistling it or something?
Somebody was. Yeah, it was like.
I don't know why that came. I don't know.
It was definitely an earwig, just kind of grew into a giant bug in the room. But
it was great.
So yeah, you can catch the video on all of our social media, especially our LinkedIn. We're back up on Twitter now,
YouTube,
and YouTube. Definitely YouTube. Check out the podcast, both podcasts, SecureAF and SecureAF After Dark. But we made a sitcom-esque silly video. To the tune of Family Matters, and
intro.
We actually got a little hype up from one of the cast members too, which is pretty cool. But
Trey hangs himself in the video.
I do hang myself in the video. There's a lot of paper throwing.
Chips.
The chips I was able to get to explode perfectly. Got chips everywhere. But
it's good.
Yes, and I think after just submitting a little, because this is a fun event too. It's not just strictly a competition. It is supposed to be educational. For the most part, this is a convention in Las Vegas. It's supposed to be a fun time, and we got accepted. So I'm very excited to do our homework. And
we allegedly had a shot at Malort, which is
that's their drink of choice.
Malort. So if you go to DEFCON, just prepare for Malort. If you don't know what it is, don't look up anything. Just have a drink of Malort.
Yeah,
it's an experience.
Yeah, it's it's inexpensive too. So
what was that? They say it was grave dirt. We said.
So Malort, I'm more familiar with Fernet, which is just like dirt liquor. But it's like the bartender's handshake. I come from service industry and breweries, of course. So
is it bartender's handshake tastes like dirt?
Yeah, it's supposed to be like an inside joke where like we're taking a very bad shot, and only us enjoy it. It's very
okay, that makes sense.
Hoity-toity. But I believe Malort is that way in Chicago, and it's kind of it's more of It's like eating the worm.
Yeah.
Mezcal, I guess. You know.
Yeah, yikes. Anyway, yeah. So I think what the example was, I don't know if it tastes like that. I have my experience, but he said it was sweaty gym socks, ringed in grave dirt.
Yeah, I hate that.
That's pretty intense.
Yeah.
I had it when I went to. I never had it before because I avoided like the plague because everyone's like, "Hey man, try this terrible shot," and they'd almost throw up after it. Whatever. I did have it in Chicago. I was like, you know what? Because that's where it's from. I had it in Chicago, and they had me do it with an orange slice, which was fine.
Yeah, that
and
totally.
Tanner was super upset because
you didn't do it straight.
Yeah, because it was good.
Yeah, you're like, I could do
He's
all
like,
these.
this is not the point. Yeah, so they all went to a cool place called Donovan's. By the way, I'm gonna give you guys a shout out. Super cool place. Gave us that as a welcome to Chicago, so thank you guys for that. But so we'll be at DEFCON in August. Competition, I'm thinking, is the 9th.
I believe so. We get there on the 8th, and I think it's the 9th or the 10th.
Okay, so we'll be there. Again, we're Team Winslow. Look for us. We probably will be wearing our shirts, probably some AF stuff. If you guys want some free stickers or shirts, we will have quite a few of that. So we're looking really forward to it. Hope to see you guys there. And in closing, anything else about vishing or competitions or anything else you want to share with the internets?
Yeah, don't believe anybody. So that's my number one thing. If you are getting weird phone calls or weird messages from somebody, it's probably not. I mean, it's the sniff test. You know, if it seems weird, it's probably weird. Find another way to contact that person. And if it's if you're at your place of business, push that up the chain. Push that all the way up to the president.
Yep. It's okay to ask.
It is okay to ask, and so it's also okay to be like, I'm not really sure about this. Let me put you on hold real quick. That's been the biggest way I've seen people complete their vishing questions or campaign successfully, is to push it up the chain.
Yeah.
So don't be afraid to utilize your boss, or actually check in and see if your daughter's upstairs.
So, good conclusion.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, again, thank you guys for the time watching SecureAF Podcast. Obviously, watch our other one, Secure After Dark, a little more spicy with always some whiskey tasting on that one. Thank you guys again. Thank you, Trey, for being on the show.
Of course, thank you. First podcast.
Y'all have a great day, Internet. See ya.